Motion man this time is Zane Adler. He'll go back to his wing spot. And now go in motion one more time. The give is to Adler. Adler is in for the touchdown. The Rockets score.
Send Bennington in motion. Bennington is in there for a touchdown.
Welcome, everybody, to Coach on the Couch. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, here with Spencer Columbus head football coach Jason Gorst. Coach, let's just first start by reminding the audience how many years you've been head coach for the Rockets and what keeps you coming back every year.
I think this is it's either 11 or 12 years for me here, but I really enjoy the opportunity. I think that football is a fantastic sport to use as a vehicle to reach young men and to work with young guys on growing, becoming better people. It's a sport too that has the physicality of it, but also the mental part of the game too. So it definitely, I feel it challenges me, and I'm blessed to have the opportunity to do this.
Wasn't planning on asking you this question, but you just reminded me with a couple of words that you said about inspiring youth and forming good human beings through sports and academics. How do you help your kids on the academic side as well?
It's a conversation that we typically have, and we want to have more of because we have, these young men have to understand that the decisions they make right now can often really shape the rest of their lives. And so while we want them to, do well academically and whatnot for purposes of being eligible and those sorts of things, it's a bigger picture. We'd like to see these guys be successful. So it's definitely at the forefront of our conversations, especially early in the year, where we're talking about the types of things that make up a good football player and a good football team. And striving for excellence in the classroom is definitely part of that. I don't think that we talk about discipline a lot, and discipline's not a switch you can turn on and off. I don't think you can be disciplined on the field on a Friday night if you're, kind of acting like a knucklehead all day during school. You have to be able to, have that disciplined just way you carry yourself, I guess.
As one former early high school career knucklehead, I concur with what Coach just said. So let's talk about last year a little bit. We'll kind of put a bow on last year. Remember some of the seniors. You don't need to call any out by name. You can if you want to, but maybe just one memory from last year. And one of the things about high school sports is that the kids, they can only stay with you for 4 years, and if they're varsity for that long, sometimes even a shorter period. You did have a 1,000-yard rusher last year in Brock Bennington, and a team with other seniors on it as well. What were some of those memories from last year's football team?
I think to me overall, the biggest thing for last year was the growth that the team had, and definitely led by the seniors on that. But we started off the year and took a couple on the chin to some very good football teams in Colby and Wittenberg, Burnhamwood, who really put one up on us. And, we were reeling a little bit and didn't appear to have the makings of a good football team at that time. And we were just kind of honest in our conversations and stuck together as a team. And I was really just proud of the way how those guys just continue to work and improve each and every week. And it had been real easy after, a couple back-to-back losses combined 82-0 to say, hey, maybe football's not the year for us. And we're going to focus on other sports. But those guys really kind of dug their heels and became a better football team. Had a real quality win against Bangor, played good football down the stretch. And we're really proud of, that determination and resilience that they showed in a situation where they could have maybe given up a little bit early, and they certainly didn't.
Been a few years now since joining the Central Wisconsin Conference. Just looking back on the last few years, just tell us about that decision and how that has worked out for your football team.
It's a challenge. It was one of those situations that when you're looking at, conferences and things like that, this realignment, it added travel time to us and probably in a way made things, almost more competitive. I would definitely argue that the Clover Belt is a very strong conference, and the likes of, Stanley Boyd and Colby and Eau Claire Regis there was always a challenge. And you're getting something very similar here with Amherst and Stratford and Wittenberg, Burnhamwood. But it was definitely a different conference. It's a lot heavier when it comes to passing. There's just a lot more teams that throw the ball around, and there's terrific parity throughout the conference. I don't know that. I know since we've entered it, we've not been in a situation where there's been much for blowout wins to be had. Each and every week there's a pretty quality opponent, and even some of the teams I'll point out, like a Shiocton last year, who was not a playoff team. I thought they were a very good football team. I thought they were well coached. I thought they had talented kids, and just kind of ended up drawing the the short straw and being the odd team left out of the playoffs in a pretty tough conference. I think more often than not in conferences throughout the state, if they were relocated, they would probably make the playoffs in a lot of conferences. So it's definitely been a challenge, but that pushes us to become better players, better coaches, and a better team too.
We'll start to talk about this year's team with a reminder. Last conference championship did come in the Clover Belt in 2015. Been competitive since then. I looked through the last year since then. Yeah, obviously competitive teams through in and throughout. Goal setting. I'd imagine you and the guys have talked about a conference championship. What are some of those ingredients of having a season like that? Whether it's a conference championship, a successful season, a playoff winning. What are some of those ingredients that you look for?
I think, going back to that time period and kind of the way we try to talk about things is we actually don't talk a lot about those things. We talk about a 1 week at a time approach. And I think that, this team is no different than that. We have a very tough non-conference schedule in St. Croix Central and Colby coming up, and then a very, very brutal conference schedule too. So right now, all of our conversation and focus is about how do we get better. Tonight practice, we need to become better at blocking power and blocking buck. And we need to get better against the option on defense, and we need to improve our punt team. And so we're really kind of looking at those types of goals right now of how do we become a better football team, from a game to game and even a play-by-play standpoint right now. So we've got some really good teams on our schedule this year that even if we were to be a very good football team, those games could be lost. So we're doing everything we can to put yourself in that position where you're within striking distance to win. And then hopefully some of those intangibles can carry you through in those moments where you really need all of our guys to perform at their best level.
You mentioned a couple terms. I like them: power, buck, trap, sweep, swing, zone. Those are all running plays. So you talked about the passing style of this conference. How do you view this year's version of Rockets football as it pertains to the play calling style? What is the theme of this year's team?
Yeah, so we're kind of the different ones in the conference in a sense, because we don't spread the ball out and throw it 40 times a game. I think us and Stratford coming into the conference, we're both kind of the outliers in this conference where it's a little bit more running football. That being said, we do have some pretty good speed this year, and we are looking to take advantage of that. And we have kind of revamped our passing game. We probably put more time into it this offseason than we have maybe in any other year. Hopefully that'll yield some positive results to not allow teams to get so downhill on us and be a little bit less predictable than maybe we have been in the last couple of years. So we'll see how it's going to work out here. I think Isaac Moritz looks really good at quarterback. He seems to be very comfortable right now. And we're really trying to get the ball in the hands of some of our athletes out in a little bit more space. We'll still be running our pistol wing tee offense, but finding ways, just creative ways to get some of our athletes the football.
Let's talk about Friday's game. You're finishing up week 3 of practice here this week, and then somewhat of a longer road trip out to St. Croix Central. What are some of the indications for people that are at the game or they're watching from home, say at the end of the first quarter, regardless of what the scoreboard says? What are some of the indications to the folks cheering on the Rockets that things are going according to Coach Gorst's plans?
I think for us, it's limiting mistakes and being assignment sound. So on the defensive side of things, they're going to come at us with a little bit of a triple option attack, and we need to be very sound in our assignments, on that side of the ball. From an offensive standpoint, it's that ability to move the chains and hopefully control the time of possession. That's a kind of a big thing for us is we want the ball in our hands as much as possible throughout the game. And we're not afraid to go on a 16-play, 8-9 minute drive. Those are good things for us. So we've never been really built to have a high, fast paced back and forth, many possession, 40 to 40 game type thing. We'd like to control the ball and be very efficient going down the field, score as often as we can from an efficiency standpoint, and win that time of possession. So I think early on in the season, it's all about being as mistake free as you possibly can, especially in this first week or two here. We'll
wrap up here with Coach on the Couch, Spencer Columbus Rockets head coach Jason Gorst, to give you a chance to advertise your team and tell people to come out and watch. It's so important to be there in the stadium, in the bleachers, There's just that high school environment, high school football in particular. It's a lot of fun being right there, right in the bleachers. So I'll give you a last word chance to tell your fans to come out and support you and the guys this year.
Yeah, when I look at this team here, the work ethic that they've put in, the time in the off season, the focus, the love, the attention to detail, it's all there. To see guys like Sully Melander, Nate Rucker, Cole Hansen, Ike Moritz, Carson Kilty, this group of seniors, and many, many more here. I just really think that, this is a fun group of kids that's worked very hard. Football means a lot to them. And yeah, we'd like to see as many fans in the stands as possible cheering them on, and so that we can feed off of that energy too. I don't think there's many things that equate to a Friday Night Lights scenario. It's a pretty special feeling, and definitely something that we want all of these guys to cherish. And when we talk about our football program, it is really a program. It's not a team. And so our fans, our parents, the student body is all a very important part of that whole process.
Coach Jason Gorst and the Spencer Columbus Rockets, good luck in 2022.
All right, thank you.
Motion man this time is Zane Adler. He'll go back to his wing spot. And now go in motion one more time. The give is to Adler. Adler is in for the touchdown. The Rockets score.
Send Bennington in motion. Bennington is in there for a touchdown.